Hey everybody, Adam Savage from Tested here in Grant Imahara's shop with Fon Davis. Hello, sir.
Hello.
And we are both model makers and film geeks, and Grant was also all of those things times 10. And we have one of his beautiful constructions here, his BB-8, and I have not seen this in person yet.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I'm blown away.
Pretty flawless.
You could film with this tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
And it's functional. It actually runs.
Yes, correct.
In the same way that the original, like this is held on with magnets.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's got the lights, it's got all the motion, it's got a very sophisticated mechanical system inside.
I want to take a look at that inside, but I want to hear, like, when did he first say he wanted to build this?
It was Star Wars Celebration, and they were promoting Force Awakens.
Right.
And J.J. Abrams had a BB-8 roll out on stage
and
to promote the movie.
And we had seen the trailer, and
right.
all of us were like, well, clearly that's a CG robot.
Correct.
That's not that. They just did that with CG. And then when JJ rolled that out, I just think every one of our collective jaws dropped that it was a practical machine.
Yeah. And then that's when you could see a switch go off in Grant's head. Yeah. And he said, I have to make one. Because I think just he had to have one, but also just the engineering challenge of figuring out how to do that.
The fact that someone had solved it.
The fact that someone solved it meant that it was solvable and it was possible, therefore he had to do it.
Did he have any inside intel into how the original was built? I mean, I know there were some things that leaked out. And...
Yeah, I mean, well, there was just, like most things these days, there was a lot of exchange on the internet.
Yep.
And then, we have this whole kind of brain trust of robotics engineers that we're all friends with that we can tap into. And there was just a lot of discussions, and he chose his path, and it worked great. It works a little better on carpet than on a smooth floor, but it's pretty flawless.
I love it.
I'd say it would be passable in a movie for sure.
Is it largely 3D printed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can look at the inside.
Oh yeah, let's look at the inside.
So each of these panels is 3D printed separately to fit his machine. Whoa. It's got the speaker for sound, and it's got
2 speakers.
Yeah, and then this is the motor actually rotates this piece, which shifts the weight in such a way that it can roll.
Right. So this platform I'm looking inside here doesn't ever go off of level. Just
Correct.
As it tries to push itself off level, the outer sphere rolls to...
It leans into the direction it wants to go. So it has to rotate both directions and lean back and forth.
Wow.
And then you can see the counterweight. Sorry, I didn't actually, to be fair, I didn't help him build this.
Okay, right.
I was just around watching him build this, thinking about how crazy he was building this.
I'm blown away by the distance between the magnets. There's like a good 3/4 of an inch between the magnets at the bottom of this thing and the magnets that are in the top of that.
Yeah, they're just very powerful magnets.
That's incredible to me. Dude, how long was he working on this?
Oh gosh, I'm not sure. It seems like forever from the outside, but these things always seem like they take a very long time.
And he collaborated with Lauren Markland?
Yes.
Okay, I want to talk to Lauren Markland about this because she did work with him on this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she was around for a lot of it.
All right, so Lauren, you collaborated with Grant on this.
I did. Many weeks or months. We finished it in like 2017, so it's been a few years. But it was a lot of 3D printing and then remaking those 3D printed parts and then making the structure on the inside and then seeing all of his actual mechanical parts. And
well, I'll tell you some of the difficulties I can see is you've got a 3D printed superstructure.
Yes.
And then on top of that is a 3D printed overstructure.
Yes.
And am I guessing that maybe getting the perfect sphericity of both of those to match might have not been smooth?
It was a task, let me tell you. Because we originally thought about making this out of an acrylic sphere.
Okay.
But then that was not... It just wasn't giving us the look we wanted. We wanted all the panels to be separate. We really wanted it to feel like it was, parts of an astromech put together, not just like one smooth sphere. We wanted that detailing between each panel. You wanted an experience. It would feel like the right thing. So, we 3D printed each part. If you look at the inside, not only does he have a lot of these little individual LEDs on each panel.
That's what that is?
That's what that is. You can see some of the labeling here, actually. So this is panel 4. There's 2 out of 4. The second part, there's a piece here. You can see sort of the interior seams. So each ring was 4 parts. The center was one piece, and each of the triangular panels was two pieces.
Well, so I think that people often think of 3D printing as like, well, that would make it really easy because you just print the parts and bolt them together. But on a piece this big, radii can warp and they can change, right?
Exactly. So we were printing each panel like 2 or 3 panels apart a piece. It was kind of crazy for a while. It was a lot of printing for weeks, and then we had a lot of failures at some point because you know how the machines can delaminate
It's
if
not
there's a
100%,
temperature
right.
issue or whatever. So, and not only that, each piece is also pinned. So I'm sticking like 1/8-inch pins into like 32 pins down the center.
Oh my God.
On each thing. Yeah, it was crazy. It was a little crazy.
I also noticed this little hat comes off.
He does have a little hat. So all of our interior lights for his eyes are in here as well.
Okay.
And then his magnets to stick onto his body, and then
Every now and then I come across somebody who thinks that 3D printing is somehow cheating, and I say, clearly you've never 3D printed because there's no cheating involved. It's just as much of a pain in the ass as any other method.
I feel like people that say that have never actually had to finish a 3D print because those grow lines are brutal sometimes. And this was, again, a few years ago, so we weren't resin printing this.
Right.
This was all
SLA.
It's all SLA. So
Okay, and so you also, am I right, you painted this?
I did.
It is a beautiful paint job.
Thank you. We really wanted him to look, like he had been rolling around in the desert on Tatooine or Batuu or any of these things for a while. We wanted him to look like he was going out on adventures with Rey. So we, it was a lot of put a little bit on, and then we look at it, make it dirtier. Put a little bit on, look at it, make it dirtier.
When you look at BB-8s that get built now, do you have any advice for BB-8 builders having gone through the trenches of this one?
Be patient. Be patient. If you are printing it in separate parts, if you are doing, these very curved spherical parts, don't leave it in the sun. Don't take them outside.
Oh, wow.
Don't take them in a car. Don't put them anywhere, especially if you're doing SLA or PLA. It is gonna warp. So just be careful of that. And I don't know, something that we went through a lot with this, specifically with the print issues, and then also just, especially the mechanical parts, is it doesn't have to be perfect the first time.
Right.
As Grant had this note that he had posted up on his computer for the entire time we were building this, it said, it doesn't have to be perfect the first time. You make it as well as you can and then move on to the next version.
Right.
And so that was sort of the intent with BB. And then, Grogu came out and we had to, obviously, we had the next thing, right? Because we had built this with the intention of taking it to kids' hospitals to visit kids. Yeah,
Right.
A lot of what we did together was for the joy of other people and using, Steam and things like that to give people a little bit of whimsy in their life and also just, make them happy.
Yeah.
So that was the intention with BB, but, being sort of in that environment, a very sterile environment, rolling on the floor wasn't that great. So we ended up moving on to a carryable robot. But yeah, I he's still, just looking at him, he really is like a little joy. Little joy machine. So
I find myself astounded that that Lucasfilm was able to come up with not just one great robot in R2-D2, but like to follow him with this. And I love this guy every bit as much. I think he's amazing.
Yeah, he's very cute, and I love that they each have their own sort of personality.
Yeah.
And their own character, and that also came through when we would pilot him around, because he really did. One of the things that was really important to Grant in the mechanics of him and the movement was that sort of wobble he gets, when he goes a little too fast and he goes to stop and he just like wobbles a little bit. So he definitely does that. And the weight too of his interior mechanism, it contributes to that as well. So
was there adjustment made to adjust the wobble?
Yeah. So we tweaked it a lot. We would either like add magnets in specific places or change out the materials inside to sort of make sure it had that a little bit of personality in the way that he moved.
I love that. I really, really dig that he was so involved in the performance aspect down to some minute details like that. That's amazing. Lauren, thank you so much for giving me a tour here. He's absolutely lovely.